Who am I here with?
Marlin kid.
Marlin kid. Okay, Marlin. And where are you from, Marlin?
Originally St. Louis, but raised in Oceanside.
Gotcha. So, Marlin, what do you do for work?
I'm a peace officer with the state of California.
Gotcha. And how long you been a peace officer for?
7 years.
7 years. Okay. And what inspired you to be a peace officer?
Wait for that. All right. So, just wanting to make change. You know, you can't make change being on the bench. You got to actually be a player to get in the game to make a change. You know, that's what inspired me.
I got you. Since like being a peace officer, you know, working from like the inside, you know, how has like your personal experience been?
Overall, it's been good. I mean, it's been good. It's things that, you know, there's a lot of change, there's a lot of benefits, and then also on the other side we see some bad things. So I mean that affects too.
Okay. Can you name some of like the good and bad?
I mean, like as far as good, you know, just helping somebody, a victim of a crime, and I mean, helping them get justice. You know, doing a good investigation, catching the person that's committed that crime ultimately. You know, it's not up to me to sentence anybody, but it's up to me to do a thorough investigation and make sure that person is helped the way they need to be helped. As far as bad, for me, it's always tough dealing with kids, deaths, things like that, abuse. Those are things that are just really tough to see sometimes.
I got you. And how has that like affected your mental and emotional health?
Well, just like any human being, you know, you can't, you know, your lens changes on life. The way you see things, the way you perceive things, the way you interact in crowds, the way you interact, you know, with your friends. You know, you see enough bad things, you start viewing things a little different, you know, if it makes sense.
I got you. And how do you personally feel about like the stigma like with being a peace officer? You know, like the good peace officer versus like the bad peace officer. You know, have you even witnessed that in your line of work?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a difficult thing, you know, especially me personally. I know I'm out there trying to do the best thing I can do, and I'm taking my time away from my family. I'm taking my time away. You know, I'm putting my life on the line. I can, you know, get shot and killed for a stranger, essentially, and some people just hate me just because of the uniform. You know, they don't know me. They have no clue about me. I'm guaranteeing if we're at a park barbecuing and I'm outside of my uniform, we'll have a good time, you know, but that's not what they see. They just see the uniform, and all of a sudden I am in that bracket of just being that type of person, which isn't really fair, because I mean, people, they don't expect us to treat them that way, right? You mean you wouldn't want me just to look at you and be like, oh, okay, well, looking at you, this is how you are. You mean that's not fair? So it's sort of not fair to me, but you know what? It is what it is. You know what I mean? I try not to let it affect me.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, have you ever witnessed like unethical behavior from like a fellow peace officer?
Yeah, no, no, I wouldn't allow that to be done in my presence. I wouldn't. No, not at all.
All right, yeah. That's good, man. Do you believe like the systematic like racism exists?
I believe racism is there for sure. You mean you'd be ignorant to believe that it doesn't exist. You know what I mean? So.
Freak. How can like trust between like civilians and like peace officers, you know, how you think like it can be like rebuilt, you know, like we can actually learn to like respect one another?
Well, the words, you said it yourself. You know what I mean? The key word is respect. You know, I get that some people have maybe some prior trauma or some type of prior altercation with some officer somewhere, and it just wasn't right. You know what I mean? Or, you know, as a kid, they might have seen something happen, and then, you know, a police officer came and arrested mommy or daddy. Now you have some type of feeling towards officers or whatever it is. I think just how we could develop trust is just having open communication like the way we're doing, you know, and just, you know, citizens are, they can encourage you. You can do ride-alongs with the police department. You can go in there and make your voice heard. You can go to city council meetings, things like that. You can be heard. But ultimately, it just comes down to respect, you know. It goes both ways.
Got you. Okay. So like looking back, was there ever like any like incidents that like you thought that you could have handled like differently, you know, maybe like better?
Yeah, you could say. I mean, I can't put my finger on anything, but just as a human being, you know, just doing anything, any job, any skill, any hobby, a lifestyle, especially this is just a learning. I mean, you can't, something that you've done today, you know, some type of call or investigation, you're gonna be better at it, you know, years later, months later, even the next call, you'll be better at it, you know. So yeah, there's sometimes I look back, hey, you know what, I could have did that a little different. You don't dwell on it, you just learn from it, you know. That's what you can do.
Got you. And so have you ever had to do like you know, like checkpoints, you know, DUI checkpoints, you know, pull someone over for like speeding, traffic violations?
Yeah. Not as many as far as checkpoints, though. I worked maybe one or two, but pulling people over for traffic violations, yeah, I've done plenty of those.
Okay. You know, what's the like, you know, how do you approach like the situation?
Which one?
I'll say the traffic violation, someone speeding. You know, how do you go about it? Like as far as in a like professional way?
Well, I mean, first thing you do is you make sure it's safe for you. You know, and you have choices. You can either give somebody a citation, you can arrest them, depending on whatever crime has occurred, or you can educate them. So it all depends. And, you know, sometimes I view the situation like what's best going to correct this behavior, because that's all you're doing when you're doing a traffic stop. That's all you're doing when you're enforcing a crime or contacting somebody, or even a consensual contact. You're trying to maybe possibly change behavior, you know. So that's why when people get tickets for running a stop sign, here's your ticket. That ticket's to change a behavior. We don't want you to run a stop sign because people get hit at stop signs. Kids are around here. Cars get hit, people die, people get injured. So, you know, it's like I said, it's either you talk to them, see if you can change the behavior then and there, or if not, then sometimes you just write a citation.
Gotcha. Okay, so Marlin, have you ever been in, you know, a scary situation?
Yeah, I have. Through my career, I mean, I've been attacked, been shot at, you know, so there's some things that definitely I remember.
Got you. And in the heat of the moment, Free, how you feel?
Well, in that instance, the one that I'm thinking of, I don't think, you know, I can't really say that I was really feeling scared. I'm not saying I'm macho man, like I don't fear. You mean, yeah, of course, you need people. I mean, I have fear. You know what I mean? But at that point, I don't think that, at least for me personally, it didn't really kick in the fear level. It just kicked in, what do I need to do to win? What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to end this situation? You mean, hopefully we could have ended peacefully, but at that time, you just do.
Okay.
You rely on your training, I guess.
Got you. For that current like situation, did things escalate and stuff to the next level?
Unfortunately.
Got you. So Marlon, you ever had to use force to like de-escalate, the scary situation?
Yes.
Got you. So, people say that like, you don't like you're not the same after like, like them type of circumstances like occur in your life. Did you feel like, you stay relatively like the same afterwards?
I don't think anybody's the same after any traumatic incident. I don't think anybody's the same after a heartbreak. You know what I mean? Break up with your girlfriend, go to the next girlfriend. I guarantee you're not the same. It's just in life. We're humans. We grow. Just like a wound, you get cut. You know what I mean? Your skin ain't the same. It heals over the wound. The wound's still there, but it heals over. You still see the scarring, but you're still ultimately the same person, but you're different. I don't think it's changed me a lot, but I would be a fool to say it hasn't.
Got you. So Marlon, based on like the neighborhood, would you say that like it's different type of individuals that you have to like deal with, in the sense of like some being more like say aggressive or more outspoken?
In certain type of neighborhoods?
Yes.
There's ultimately different cultures communicate differently.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. I grew up, my household's a very loud household. You can go to one of our family parties and it sounds like, if just on the outside, it sounds like we're fighting. We're not fighting, we're playing dominoes, we're playing cards, we're laughing. We're just loud. And some people might think it's aggressive. No, it's just the way we talk. Different cultures talk different, the way you deal with things. But I can't say that, certain neighborhoods, people are more aggressive or more not, because it comes down to the individual.
I got you. And what's something that like people misunderstand about like being like a peace officer? Has someone like ever asked or try to put a fixed perspective on you, and it just wasn't true at all?
Yeah. I think it's the whole misconception that we're perfect beings, supposed to be robots, can never make a mistake, never have a bad day, can never do wrong. That's not true. We all wake up and put our pants on the same way, one pant leg at a time.
Right.
We wake up, some people have bad days, some people have issues at the household. You try not to bring it to the streets, but we're human beings. And so sometimes, you could make a mistake, so yeah. So like I said, some people make mistakes. I think just one of the big misperceptions that I see sometimes is that, people don't view us as like, as humans, we're supposed to be robots. It's supposed to act a certain way the whole time, and it's supposed to be in this box, just rigid. But that's not the way it is. We all want to go home, just like you want to go home at the end of this interview. The way I want to get home to my family. So.
Got you. I'm gonna talk about like this scary situation again. So I know you say you've been in like one before. Has it ever like crossed your mind, like in the moment, that like I may die?
Yeah, it has. So there's been those moments where you're like, oh, this could be it. It happens.
Got you. And I know at the beginning you said that like you want to do some real work and like make a difference, a change.
police officer nowadays just for the money. I don't think you can wholeheartedly go into this profession thinking because, okay, you know, it's good pay for the money. It's not the money that the amount of money that they pay you. It's okay, but it's not enough for what you do. You know, like what you have to do. You got to be a police officer. You got to be a marriage counselor. You got to be a mental health evaluator. You got to be a psychiatrist. You got to be, I mean, all this stuff in one, and then at the same time act and react in a split second to make the right decision. And ultimately, you can probably go to McDonald's and be a manager and get paid more than me. You know, in and out, you get paid more than me. You could do some OnlyFans and show your feet and get paid more than me.
Yeah.
You know, so ultimately, it's sometimes you think about it. You know, if it's the thank you, sir. You know, is it worth it? But you got to think, what are you doing it for? What's your why? For me, it's worth it. You know, unfortunately, you know, something bad could happen. I pray it doesn't. I mean, I have a family, and I think, you know, is it worth it? But the end game is, I think it is worth it. You know, it's a noble profession.
Okay, man, that's respectable. Thank you, Marlin, for your time and stuff. Do you consent to this video?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Marlin.